how can God forgive you when you have not forgiven your father? He said, God, that in order to enter into the kingdom of heaven, you must go and forgive. You got to
Yeah,
forgive your
absolutely.
mother and your father. You haven't done any of those things, but yet you accepted Jesus.
I don't know that because, when it comes to forgiving, like, to me, when you don't forgive somebody is when you hold resentment and you really hate them, but I don't, right? Like, I don't, like, if somebody came here right now and they were like, we're going to kill you and your family, I'm going to go in there and get my AR-15 and I'm laying shit out, like, straight up for my family. I'm fighting for my family.
What is
You know what I'm
forgiveness?
saying? Forgiveness is not holding resentment, not holding hate. You hold no record. You hold no record of their past. You forgive them for their actions. You're no longer hurt either. You're no longer hurting yourself. You know what I mean? For whatever
But
that person did.
but you're doing all those things
How?
in your imagination and emotions. You have because you haven't gone, and that's not forgiveness, by the way. Forgiveness and confessing your sin is when you can see that you have this anger, and when you see that it's wrong, because not only is it keeping you away from perfect peace, it's wrong for judging anyone else. And then you go and apologize for being angry. Anger is hatred. Hatred is judgment. And judgment is playing God. And you haven't forgiven, so you're still holding on to the anger because you haven't seen for yourself that you're wrong for being angry. It separates you from God. Anyone that has anger is of their father, the devil, pretending to be of God.
Mm.
Anger is evil. In the good old days when boys were boys and men were men, anger was recognized for what it was for. It's hatred. Anyone that has hatred play God. They judge themselves. They judge others. They think they make decisions. They think they know what they want because they're playing God. And as long as you play God, you will never know God. You'll know about him. You have ideas in your imagination about him, but ideas about God is not knowing God. It's just an idea.
I mean, in an earthly sense, yeah. But they say you gotta have faith. You
You
gotta
must
have
be
strong
born
faith.
again.
Yeah.
And I know that you said you were sick. If you go really, and don't do this just because I said it, you need to see it for yourself. And I want to encourage you. I have a silent prayer up there. I want you to, instead of doing your little hooping and hollering and praying and begging, which is not working, I want you to be still and know God. I want you to start, I recommend you start living from within instead of without. This is you. This is your imagination. When your mother turned you away from your father and stole your innocence, destroyed your innocence, you escaped into your imagination, which is pure hell. All thoughts are all lies all the time about anything. You escaped into the darkness of your imagination. And God said to bring every thought into captivity, but you're living in them. But when you can see this anger and know that you do resent your mother and your father and go and forgive them, I'm sorry for resenting you, God is going to bring you out of the darkness of your imagination because all thoughts are evil. They are pure evil. They're not of God and they're not of you. And he's going to bring you out of the darkness of your imagination by the light, and he's going to destroy the devil, and you will have a clear mind and become a free man. But until you do that, all you have are words.
That's interesting. That's very hidden from me, I would say, because
Yes. And the
never
devil is
really
controlling your flesh. Your flesh don't have any power. It's just flesh. The devil is living in your flesh of your imagination and your emotions, which are not your own, is of the devil. Those that feel good are evil. Those that feel bad are evil. None of them are you. You're not your thoughts. You're not your feeling. They're all evil, but you identify with them, calling them you, and you got to die from all of the identities you have picked up. You're not your thoughts and stuff, man. You identify with the devil. You should have no identity at all. Then the real you will appear. When false identities disappear, the real you will appear, and you have no idea who that is at this point. You have forgotten who you are when your mother traumatized you.
But it wasn't my mom that like taught me those things necessarily.
Taught you
I mean?
what thing? She didn't have to teach you that her spirit, you identified with her spirit and you became like her. She didn't have to say a word about your father, but you can tell she didn't like him.
Yeah. That's it. It was never, ever, 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 ever told to me in this format. Not once. This is the very first time.
It was spirit to spirit. Your mother hates your father, and she didn't want the children. And it's not your mother, but it's the hell that's in her because she resent her mother, and her mother resent her mother. And the hell comes through the woman. Women don't have love, they only have hell. And the hell comes through them ever since Adam and Eve. When Eve listened to the serpent became the woman's God. And when Adam listened to the woman became the man's God. But Christ came and reversed all of that. You're not going to know that until you forgive your mother. Mother, I'm sorry for resenting you. And Father, I'm sorry for resenting you for not protecting me from her. I understand. And God will forgive you, and healing is possible too in you. But you're not going to be healed in your hell.
Yeah,
you can hang that up.
That would require me to erase everything that I know, and doing that and then not believe that God will say, I never knew you when I pass away. When I pass away, Jesus said, I never knew you. You didn't build a relationship with me. You didn't accept me as your Lord and Savior. You know what I'm saying? So like, for anybody to let go of how the Bible works and how you get to heaven is
it's like all in your intellect, and your intellect is evil. It's just like a secular learning. You have learned intellectually, and it's stuck in your head, and the devil using that against you to make you think you know God. You know about God. That's just intellectual, but it's not doing you any good at all.
Yeah, though that teaching requires to not fear.
I'm sorry?
At all. You like your understanding of it and your teaching of it will require no fear of hell.
You know that, right? Once you understand, hell would disappear because you're already in hell. You're in hell right now, but the hell is in you, in your imagination and emotions. Once you forgive, the imagination, which is evil, which is hell, would be taken away from you because it's all spirits, the spirit of evil and all his little demons. And once you forgive, the demons will have to depart from you and go live in somewhere else, and you will have paradise on earth rather than hell on earth. Everybody around you will be crazy, but you'll be free.
That's crazy. Oh, man. If I have my cousin watch this interview, she gonna flip. She gonna lose her mind. She gonna be like, what the hell?
And you know why? Because she's not ready for the truth. She loves her hell over heaven. And she's calling her hell heaven.
Oh, my goodness. So, but earlier you said you don't believe in Jesus, right?
I believe in God. I know God, and I know that Jesus is my brother. I know that God sent him so that he that believes the truth that come through God, through Jesus, will also believe in God. And Jesus said over and over again, it's not me, it's my Father that's in me. It's my Father who gives me the instruction to give you. It's my Father who sent me. My Father's working through me. He never said he was working through him. He never said the truth was his own. He always said it was my Father. But the intellectual Christian called Jesus God. That's why they got him way out there where they can't even touch him, because they have made him into a God, and that's what the intellect does. That's the game that Satan play on the intellectual. Jesus never said he was God. And he said, everything I own, you own it. You are my inheritance. You are my brother.
He was healing people, though. People would touch his cloth and become healed. Like,
he
that's
never
like
healed.
God deity.
He never healed, but the Spirit of the Father is in him healed. He didn't do anything about it. It was in him. as it is in you when you overcome your imagination.
Mm. That's deep, man. That's very deep. I understand, and even in that perspective, to me, makes sense too.
And you know
But
why it makes sense right now?
why?
God is allowing you to see it. I can't make you see that. No human being can make you see the truth. You can't even make yourself see the truth. You have to welcome the truth. You have to want it, and it will reveal itself. And God is
But
letting you see that. That makes sense.
I think Gino Jennings, if he was in this topic with you, you wouldn't be able to. He would stomp you. I'm gonna be honest with you. He would stomp you pretty bad because he's more knowledgeable than I am. Like I'm not.
But what does Gino Jennings or Jesse Peterson have to do with you knowing the truth? The truth is, if he was in the truth, he would be about stopping anyone because he will understand why people can't see. And once you can see, you don't want to stop anyone. You want to point them back to the Father. You're not in competition with anybody because the darkness has no, the light has no relationship with the darkness at all. So why would you want to stop someone? Forgive them, Father. They know not what they do. They can't see.
I don't know. I never heard that perspective before. I've heard it way different.
I understand.
Way different.
That's why you're suffering. You've heard it intellectually, but not spiritually.
Yeah, man. Like if my way of understanding is if you keep committing sins, if you don't stop, you're going to hell. Number one, like
Well,
no matter what.
sin is of the heart. Salvation is of the heart. And when you sin in the heart. And your heart is sinful because you have not forgiven. And once you forgive, God will forgive you and give you a brand new heart, which is of Him. You will have love in your heart instead of anger. There will be no anger because anger is of the devil. And so all the little other things you've been doing are vices. They're not sin. They are vices you picked up as a result to try to make yourself feel better because you're worshiping the devil and not God. But you changed the heart by forgiving your mother and return it to your father by forgiving him. Your heart will change, which will be of God's heart, and that's where the power is in, the love. It's in the heart.
Yeah, I truly believe it's in the heart, but like that doesn't really have anything to do with Jesus to me, though.
Why
You know what I'm
not?
saying?
Jesus said salvation is of the heart. What do you mean?
If I forgive my mother and my father, that has nothing to do with Jesus, according to how they describe.
Did Jesus not say that salvation is of the heart?
Through Him, by Him.
Did
right?
Jesus not say that salvation is of the heart?
Yeah, it's through
Then
the
what
heart.
He's saying is that's what He said. Why don't you believe that?
I don't know, man. Like it's like I can't understand that concept of just I don't even understand that. Forgiving my mother and my father and then I'm good when I die. Like I don't know if I can believe that.
When you forgive your parents and God forgive and you forgive them by realizing that the things you have done, you couldn't help yourself. Something else was driving you. The things you think about, the things you've done, and those things that you have done, and you say, wow, I can't believe I did that. I would never do that again. And you end up doing it again because something else has made a home in you. And it's been driving you, not you. And then if you understand that about yourself, it's going to cause you to understand that about your mother and your father and every human being on earth. And you will forgive them. Realize, wow, I'm wrong for being angry at them. They can't help themselves. I can't help myself. You will forgive them, and then God will forgive you and change your heart. And He will bring you out of the darkness, and the darkness will shine on the light and make you free. And then the possibility of your physical healing is possible too. But in your darkness, you're not going to be healed.
I have more I have more anger and resentment and damn near hatred towards my enemies, ex-girlfriends, wholeheartedly, more
Right.
than my parents.
No,
Like,
you're not going to be able to love nobody until you forgive your parent. When you forgive your parent, you're going to love your enemy. Just simply mean you're not going to be angry at your enemy. You won't hate your enemy. And that's what God said. We should even love our enemy. You and I and no one else has a right to be angry at anyone. You don't have a right to do that. And there's not one thing that can happen to you in your life that gives you the right to be angry. Because when you're angry, you're judging. When you're judging, you're playing God, and you're separated from God. So that's why another reason you're suffering in your hell. Those people who have done you wrong, they couldn't help it. The same hell that's driving you is driving them. They can't help it.
I see what you're talking about. So, okay. So just reversing, getting everything together. Your understanding that forgiving your mother and your father will be the power to defeat sin.
No, forgiving your parents is admitting your sin. I'm wrong for being angry. I have this anger in my heart. I'm wrong. I've been playing God. I have no right to be angry at you or anyone else because I can't help myself. And God will forgive you, and then he will destroy your ego nature, that abnormal nature that you went into to survive when your mother traumatized you. And he will destroy all your illusion about yourself and about life and about him and about the truth and about Jesus and all that stuff. Because all those are false identities that you have identified and call them you by making yourself believe that. And it wasn't you, but the hell in you. So here's what I recommend, 'cause I can't talk no more. I gotta go.
Yeah, you're good. Interesting, man. That's the first time I've ever heard this in my whole life. That's crazy.
But yet, some of it makes sense. Am I right?
And yeah, it makes sense in a way of like, like in a earthly, physical, like mental, like, you know what I mean? Like to clear the mental and to get yourself right in that sense. And whatever that leads.
Isn't it interesting that you have difficulty seeing that you're wrong for being angry at your parents? God said to honor your parents, right? And all that means is don't hate them. They couldn't help themselves. Don't be angry. They couldn't help it. The same spirit driving you, it came from them. And just as you can't help yourself, it doesn't mean you got to take care of them. It doesn't mean you're obligated to them. It just means don't resent them. They couldn't help themselves. And everyone who was born of the woman must be born again of the Father, of the Spirit of the Father. Every human being, there's not one. If you want freedom, if you want perfect peace, you must be born of the Father. But you're still born of the woman. What the?
That's crazy, man.
So listen, go to rebuildingaman.com/prayer and give that. Do your little hoover to holler, please, Lord, save me. Let my mama, let my dad, oh Lord, help me, Jesus. Heal me, Lord. Blah, blah, blah. Do your little prayer and then be still and know God.
I'm going to do that, man.
All right? And if you
Absolutely.
have any questions, feel free to call me. My number there is there.
And where do I go?
Rebuildingaman.com/prayer.
All right.